What if I told you the same emotional fuel that drives people to addiction is the same force that builds billion-dollar empires? Just look at someone like Elon Musk. He's running multiple companies, working 100-hour weeks, sleeping on factory floors, and he's openly admitted he uses work to block out the noise. He even said, "Nobody should work this hard, it's not healthy." Then there's Grant Cardone, billionaire real estate mogul, author and poster boy for relentless hustle. But before the 10X movement, he was battling with drug addiction. What changed? Not his ambition, just how he channeled it. So if you've ever wondered why some of the most successful people in business often have a past rooted in addiction and trauma, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Luke Worsfold and I've delivered over 4,000 hours of addiction counselling to high-performing professionals. And one thing I've noticed is that sometimes success doesn't just come from addiction in the past, but the stress and pressure can pull you into addiction in the here and now. So in this video, we're going to unpack why some of the most ambitious, driven and relentless entrepreneurs often have a dark side, and if that's you, what to do about it. Here's the truth most people don't talk about: the paradox of high-functioning addiction. A lot of the traits that make you successful in business, that drive the focus, the risk-taking, they're the same traits that can quietly feed addiction. I work with guys like you all the time, smart, high-performing professionals. You're smashing it at work, keeping all the plates spinning, showing up for your team, your partner, maybe even your kids. But alcohol and drugs have slowly become your go-to way to switch off, unwind and cope with the pressure. And it worked, for a while. Take one of my clients, Tom, for example. He runs a recruitment firm, turning over multiple six figures, high stress, fast-paced. He never touched a drink during work hours, but come 6 p.m, a couple of beers turned into 8 and half a bottle of whiskey. Then comes the cocaine that creeps in on Fridays just to keep up on nights out. Before he knew it, it was midweek, alone, at home, again. And here's what most people don't get. You don't need to hit rock bottom to have a real problem. High-functioning addiction is subtle. It can look like control, success and confidence, but underneath, it's costing you clarity, energy and peace of mind. Our addiction control counselling program helps guys like Tom and like you see the pattern clearly for the first time. We map out the cycle of addiction so you can actually see the loop you're stuck in, not just drinking or using, but the triggers that lead to it, the justifications and the emotional crash after. Think of it like a high-performing engine. You wouldn't put dodgy fuel in a Ferrari and expect it to run smoothly. Your body and your mind, same deal. When your coping strategy is secretly hurting your performance, it's time for a tune-up. Not shame, not rock bottom, just a smarter way to deal with all the stuff that's going on in your life and business. You don't have to give up your ambition, but you do need a new strategy, and that starts with seeing it for what it is. It's not weakness, just a pattern you need to learn to break. So if you're watching this and thinking, this actually sounds a bit like me, don't ignore that. Don't have to call yourself an addict, and you don't need rehab, you don't need to close your business. But if alcohol and drugs are starting to cost you clarity, energy, peace of mind, and even revenue, then it's time to take control. I work with one-on-one with high-performing professionals to map out their pattern, dig into the real causes and build recovery strategies that work in the real world. So click the button below and book a free private consultation with me. You don't have to lose everything to change everything. You just have to start. Here's something I discovered working with hundreds of high-functioning professionals. Addiction isn't about weakness or lack of willpower. In fact, it usually starts with something good: your ability to focus and push through stress, stay driven when others give up. That fire in your belly that's helped you build your career, run your business and lead teams, that same fire, it's the same one fueling your addiction. It's like having a superpower that's just firing in the wrong direction. Let me explain. Most people I work with have this deep need to feel in control. They don't like being vulnerable, they don't trust people easily, and they hate sitting still. So when stress hits, like work pressure, a fight with a partner, money problems, or just feeling a bit numb, you reach for something to take the edge off. A drink, a line, a few hours where you don't have to think. That need to numb out and switch off makes total sense. You're carrying a heavy load and you've trained yourself to deal with it by staying busy or using substances to take off the pressure. I had a client, James, and he ran 2 businesses, worked 14-hour days and was always learning, podcasts, books, YouTube, and from the outside he looked like he had it all together. But after work, he was drinking whiskey alone just to come down from the high performance buzz. He thought the drinking helped him stay on top of things, but really it was slowly wearing him down. When you realise your addiction is actually your coping system, just a broken one, it clicks. But you're not broken, your system is just misfiring. And when you can take that same energy and point it towards recovery and healing, build a life where you actually feel good, That's when your superpower starts working for you, not against you. You don't need to change who you are, just need to change the way you cope. Alright, so let's go a layer deeper. Look, I want you to hear this. Your drive to succeed, it probably didn't come from confidence, it came from pain. And that's not a bad thing, it just is what it is. I see it all the time with my clients. The ones who have built companies, climbed the ladder, hit their goals, most of them aren't chasing money for the sake of it, they're chasing something else. Validation, worth, control, safety. Tony Robbins says it himself. He grew up in chaos. Abusive mum, no stability. He didn't chase success to get rich, he chased it to feel safe. The same story I hear all the time from my clients. That hunger to make it usually starts from a place of pain. Take one of my clients, Mike, for example. He's a director at a construction firm, sharp as anything, and on paper he has it all sorted. House, car, family. But dig a little deeper, and he lost his dad when he was a teenager. He never really processed it. He just decided, right, I'm the man of the house now. And he worked harder than anyone, built everything from scratch. But no matter how much he achieved, he still felt like it wasn't enough. So he drank. Not every day, but when he did, he went all in and went on big binges. Because the doing never dealt with the feeling. And here's the truth. Success is often built on unresolved hurt and trauma. Maybe your childhood was chaotic. Maybe you're always trying to impress someone who never noticed. Or maybe you just never felt safe unless you were in control. That's why you're great under pressure. That's why you keep going when others fold. And that's why you push so hard. But here's the problem. When the pain goes unhealed, you never stop running. And eventually the drink and drugs sneak in, not to party, not to have fun, but to quiet the old voice that says, you're still not good enough. And I want you to know, none of this makes you weak. If anything, it proves you're strong and how strong you've been just holding it all together, but you don't have to stay stuck in it. Your pain might have built the drive, but healing is what is going to give you the peace. And imagine what life could look like if you weren't always trying to outrun something and you could truly live in that peace. Look, I'm going to be honest with you here because someone needs to say it. What used to help you cope is now quietly destroying your edge. You might have started drinking, using just to switch off, to blow off some steam after a long day, to get through a tough week, and at first it worked, right? You were still getting up early, smashing work, keeping things running, but lately it started to slow. You're waking up tired and groggy, maybe not remembering all of last night, you're snapping at your partner or spacing out in meetings, missing small things you never used to miss. And the worst part, you know you're slipping. That sharpness you pride yourself on is dulling slowly. One of my clients, Ed, he told me I used to feel like a weapon, focused, sharp and on point. Now he just feels spaced out and off the ball. He wasn't falling apart on the outside, but inside he was worn out and the guilt, anxiety and lies were just taking a toll on him. He was hiding receipts, deleting texts, and all that noise in his head, it was draining him. And that's the cost of not breaking the pattern. It's not about rock bottom, it's about erosion. Slowly chipping away at your confidence, your peace of mind, your relationship. That's the lie addict tells you, or addiction tells you, is that you're still in control. But let's be honest. You probably tried to cut back, maybe even done a dry month, or maybe even told yourself only on weekends or just beer, no spirits. And maybe it worked for a bit. But willpower alone, it doesn't fix what's underneath. That pressure, that pain, that need to escape is still there. So the cycle keeps repeating itself. Cut back, slip up, guilt, promise, repeat. And in counselling, we don't just tell you to stop. We give you the tools to understand the pattern, to interrupt it, and to build new ways to cope that don't burn your energy, wreck your relationships, or leave you feeling ashamed every Monday morning. Because if you don't transform the pattern, it will keep taking from you. Not once, but bit by bit. And trust me, you don't want to wait until it takes something you can't get back. So, here's the good news. Just because you've been stuck in this pattern doesn't mean you have to stay there. This is a bit where things can start to change. Not in some rah-rah motivational way, but in real, practical, quietly powerful ways. The breakthrough happens when you finally stop asking what's wrong with me and you start asking, why am I doing this in the first place? Because the truth is, this isn't about drinking or using, it's about what's driving it. The stress, the shame, the pressure to be perfect, the fear of losing control. And most of the guys I work with, they've never had the space to look at that stuff properly. They've been too busy holding it all together. And in addiction counselling, that's what we do. We map out your whole cycle, your triggers, your cravings, your justifications, the lies you've been telling yourself and the stories you've been believing for years. We dig deep into your why, your past, the pain you've never processed, the moments that shaped you that you're trying to escape from, and loads more. You'll start to see things clearly for the first time, and once it's clear, you can start to change it. It's not about giving up everything, it's about getting yourself back. That clarity, that control, that confidence you used to have. It's still there, it's just blurred under the noise of drinking and drugs. And when you've got the right tools, the real tools, not some just say no nonsense, but proper coping strategies, structure and support, you finally start to feel like you again. Not some shell of yourself, and you realise I can go to social events and not lose control. I can get through a tough week without drinking to numb myself. I can rebuild trust with my partner and with myself. That's what our program Addiction Control does. It doesn't just help you stop your behaviour, helps you understand it and interrupt it and rebuild something better. Because this time, you're not doing it alone. And that's the difference that makes all the difference. Look, if any of this is hitting home, if you're watching this and thinking, shit, that's me, then maybe it's time to stop doing this on your own. You've already tried to cut back, you've tried willpower, you've told yourself this time will be different. But if you're honest, nothing really changed in the long term. That's where the Addiction Control program comes in. It's a private one-to-one counselling program built specifically for high-performing professionals like you, people who are still functioning, still working, still holding it all together, but secretly struggling and stuck in the cycle. You don't need to check into rehab, you don't need to call yourself an addict or sign up to the life sentence of AA meetings. You just need something that actually works and that fits around your life. So if you're ready to take the power back, click the link below and book a free confidential call with me. We'll walk through where you're at, what's been going on, and whether this program is the right fit. No pressure, no judgment, just a chance to finally do something that actually moves the needle for good. Because you don't need to lose everything before you get help. You just need to decide that the cycle ends with you. So I look forward to talking to you on the call and speak to you soon.